we're back with The Rock, Homer Moore. Not just an OG, but a legend. I love to tell him that because he deserves it, and he is. He's possibly, I think, in my opinion, the greatest athlete that ever came through Raging the Cage. But anyhow, let's get back to Chael Sonnen. So we get
Chael.
Okay, I apologize, Chael. I'm not too smart.
The guy's big on YouTube, and he's a YouTube TV guy, you know.
Okay, so we get to the weigh-ins, and you can jump in now at the weigh-ins, because I remember you basically knowing more what was going on than I did. Was there a weight problem? I didn't even know.
Now that I think back, I think there possibly could have been, but the fact of the matter is, it's just like with the UFC. There's 205, and this guy right here says, hey, I want to accept it. Okay, I'll accept it. Is the belt still involved? Yeah, the belt's in. Like Conor McGregor would do. He'd say, come on, let's go. He fought Nick Diaz, really big Nick Diaz, and I don't remember if it was for the belt, but he fought him. You know what I'm saying? But the fact of the matter is I probably wasn't that much overweight if I was, okay?
Well, the way I see it, not to cut you off, the simple fact that you got a call 2 or 3 days before the fight, knowing there was no sanction body, and there's
I didn't know that at the time. I thought every fight that was promoted or put together had some type of, because the internet back then, what's that called, with the fighters? Sherdog was just invented. So like fights I had prior, like when I went to Raging the Cage, I said, hey, Roland, I'm 44-0. And he was like, well, you got anything to show? And then I think it was, what was the Mexican guy's name that was the commissioner, like John Montana. I said, he goes, well, we'll just take some of those, okay? And so here I am, all the jiu-jitsu tournaments and all that stuff, because I was promoted by the guy that promoted Mark Kerr and all that. All the Olympic wrestlers were just with this guy.
Richard Hamilton, yeah.
Yeah, and so he was a trainer, he showed everybody how to do all this stuff, and I was just like, okay, I listened to the guy and counted every single little thing, so that was my record. But anyhow, what was I doing?
So we go to the weigh-ins,
right.
And once again, I wasn't really paying attention. Even if you were overweight, it really doesn't matter. It was a catch weight show because short notice, and the simple fact that you took the fight. Jet lag. And you took the fight in short notice. Anyhow.
And whooped his ass, defeated him.
Well,
okay. It was, and I got pictures showing me dominating the whole time. This wasn't a Journey Horn fight, ladies and gentlemen. This was an actual bout.
That was possibly, I thought, one of your best performances. Not just as an MMA guy.
Hallelujah.
Keep in mind, he was, I believe he was an All-American Oregon wrestler.
Right.
And you were already later...
One of Randy Couture's top guys.
Yeah. So, one thing that I remember more than anything, I told Homer before the show, because we were in Hawaii, I told Homer that he shouldn't go out there with the name Rock. I told him that he should go out there with King Kong.
No, Cucamonga.
Well, I came up to a Hawaiian person. I said, hey, how do you say King Kong in Hawaiian? Yeah, Cucamonga, whatever it was. So I went out and found I don't know what it's called, but
bananas,
like 40 bananas.
Right.
And I told the MC that when you introduce him, make sure that you say King Kong in Hawaiian.
Right,
and Homer was all buffed out. I mean, he was like
At first I was kind of pissed off about it because I was like, hey, the skin color and the bananas, man, we ain't doing all that. But then I said, you know what? This is a show, and that's the way we're going to break it down. It's a show.
It's a show.
It's all about money, man. They went crazy.
Well, let me tell you
Go ahead.
for us. So Homer comes in, right? And they go, Homer, what's that word called again? Cucamonga. More. So Homer starts pounding on his chest like King Kong, and the place went crazy. You actually stole the crowd from him because he was training. These are not facts, but I believe he was training with PJ Penn for over a month privately because PJ Penn, I think, was looking for a wrestler, but I don't know. So the first round, you came out there. It was more like a wrestling match, and I thought you definitely out wrestled him, and you also out MMA him.
Okay.
You did it, and do you remember what I said to you at in between the rounds? But I'm going to remind you.
He said something about.
No. You said, Roland, I don't want to go back out there, man. I said, what? And then I slapped you.
Oh, because I was jet lagged.
Yeah, well, yeah, you were jet lagged. So I said, what? So I said, Homer, I'm going to slap you in the face, so get ready. I slapped him in the face. He goes out there, does a great job second round again. I actually thought your third round was your most dominant round. You really dominated him, I felt. So after the fight, keep in mind, fight fans, there's no local sanction body.
So I got first round.
I thought you won all three of them,
Okay.
in my opinion.
Unanimous decision.
It's just my humble opinion. So,
And this guy right here has been promoting cage fights for a very long time. And there's been fighters that have competed in his shows. You don't get screwed over.
Yeah.
You either win or you don't win.
and I wasn't favoring Homer or anyone. I'm just calling it like I see it. So let me get back to the subject.
Well,
They did not have any organized sanction body other than the organization, okay? And there was also no state sanction body either.
well, Hawaii's a little poor, right?
Well-
Financial-wise, but BJ Penn has a lot of financial needs and money and his family, so they're multimillionaires on that Hilo Island, and they did have what it took. So they had great officials there that could qualify, you know, without the other
Well-
things that, because they put on a great show. The show was
Oh,
big enough
it
for
was
you to know
unbelievable.
who won or for you to know who won or lost. Guaranteed, hands down, you would know. Me fighting, they would not have raised my hand. This gentleman was right there.
Yeah.
I won in front of my promoter. I did my job.
So
That's all right.
he's overly excited, so I don't blame him. I would too, because what they did was not cool. So they raised Homer's hand. About a few hours later, we were having a few drinks at the after party, and I can't remember who came up to me, but it was one of the people that ran the show. Said, "Roland, we watched the videos and we decided to change our mind on the victory." Well, you know that, I know that you can't do that. So you won that fight.
What was there to particularly watch? They sat there, they watched it from the start already. You don't have to re-look at things. You can go back in your mind and say, okay, what are you gonna look at? A move or something? There was nothing illegal. So so Chael Sonnen was sitting there crying like this, and I'm looking at the dude. I'm like, really? A white dude crying? Like, you had your opportunity to whoop my, you know what, ass, and you didn't do it. So I don't know why you're telling the whole world that you won and I was eating fettuccine and all this crap, all this Italian crap or whatever. I don't know where you got that from. But I do commend you on complimenting me on things you thought you know. But for the most part, a win's a win. And you know, at the end of the day, my hand was raised. There's no reflecting back on that. So I'm just glad that my promoter's back in town.
Well, I was there.
And not just that,
I was
but
there.
he's back in town to make this day happen because I had to swallow this for like 15 years. None of the video footage of that show and that fight has surfaced because Chael Sonnen has took the time to hide that and prevent that from surfacing so you all can make your own choice and decision based off of the bout. And BJ Penn is in on it. So I contacted him. I seen him at the UFC Expo. He gave me his number, called, never answered. So you guys make your choice. You heard it here.
Well, it's not even a choice. It's a fact.
Right.
Look, I've been promoting
agree.
for 20 years, okay? When a man's hand is raised, unless there's a drug problem that they find out afterwards, whatever the case is,
Never happened.
it's official. Your hand was raised. You won that fight. Regardless, who is this? This your little daughter, Homer?
Oh, this is my
Introduce
baby
your little daughter
girl.
to
This is
everybody.
Sasha.
Here's Sasha right here.
This is my
She's
baby
been
girl.
real patient. But anyhow, fight fans, it's been a pleasure
Okay.
doing this, Homer, and I know we we
Thanks,
haven't
brother.
seen each other a whole lot lately, and
Okay, I'll change it.
and I'm glad that we cleared this up for the record.
Yes, I am too.
And it was no intentions to hurt Chael or anybody. It was just, it is what it is, and the
Right.
bottom line you want.
I've just been a fair sport. At the end of the day, you know, I'm glad that we came to, you know, Black Lives Matter, and so I'm glad that we were able, and I'm only saying that because a lot of white folks are stepping up and coming clean and getting everything right for people like us that compete in sports and just out there in the world, period. And I'm just glad that I had this opportunity, that Roland was able to help me get that out there, and I really appreciate you. And you were a great promoter in your time.
Ladies and gentlemen, the great Homer the Rock Moore. Thank you. I think we're really good, actually. I think so.
We could perfect it if we wanted to, but
No, it was great. No, I'm going to kick back with you for a little bit.